youth, arts, culture, Spectrum. Right now on TRAXXfm.
Welcome to the first edition of Spectrum in 2022. That's right. If you just joined us, welcome to the segment where we feature an interview, of course, for the day. And for this particular slot, look into a topic pertaining to the youth and also arts and culture. And today we're going a little bit more broader, a little bit more general. And being my first show in 2022, it is an honor to be speaking to my guest today about, well, we're going to take a bit of a retrospect for 2021, but also importantly embrace 2022 to the fullest. Yeah, here with me in the studios live, Zachary, Roland, Anthony, who is a speaker, trainer, coach, and assistant professor at UTAR as well. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Kong Yu. Good morning, Malaysia.
Good morning to you and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Well, hope everyone is looking forward to a good year with renewed spirits.
Yeah, absolutely. I think. Yeah. We spoke, generally about embracing the year and making full use of what we can.
Yep.
In the previous interview, things have, in a way, evolved. I wouldn't say have changed dramatically since we last spoke because, we are still waiting really for the endemic stage of the COVID-19 situation. Yeah. But looking into a broader perspective and also being a little bit more positive overall. Let's talk a bit about how we can best embrace 2022, yeah?
Yep.
But before that, of course, I'd just like to welcome our friends who are listening in via the airwaves, right? That we're also live on Facebook at TRAXXfm Official. So if you'd like to, of course, have a visual cue in as to what we are going to be talking about. And of course, if you want to post a question for Roland, right, that's the best way to do it in our comment section of our Facebook live feed at TRAXXfm Official. We are live there right now. So head on over there if you'd like that alternative to the interview today. Yeah. So before we get into 2022 this year, let's talk about 2021. Right, in retrospect, and retrospectives are very useful when it comes to learning, digesting the experience as well as then processing it so that we can be better off. We can learn something from the year that's been, right? How was last year for you?
Well, Kongi, for me, 2021 was a follow-through from 2020 in terms of coping with the demands of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to make slight changes last year in ways that I use my energy, my time for better outcomes. Of course, when 2020 dawned on us with the pandemic, we were all stricken with shock, like, is this really happening? But after 1 year or so, I was more prepared. Let me give you some examples from my perspective of how it went in 2021. As a lecturer and trainer, I use the virtual platform and still do. And of course, I wanted to make it more proactive for my participants, making sure it's effective, it's active and memorable, even though it's virtual. As a parent, I had better time with my daughter, more engagement with her because I was at home most of the time. As an artist, my greatest hobby, I was able to create masterpieces and go into new areas or new techniques of being creative and even selling some of my work. Yes.
Nice. What is your medium?
Mixed. Okay. And I'm quite a radical when it comes to that. I just try anything that comes my way.
Okay, well, that's awesome, yeah. And I think one of the key words, I think, it's increased. At first, it came from a forced situation, but then it led to just overall increased engagement overall, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, I think when we function in relation to each other is on automatic, right? There's a certain code that we follow in terms of personal interaction, and I think the pandemic really forced us to engage in a truer sense, in a clearer sense. Right? So that's really wonderful. Mm-hmm.
I actually saw greater progress in 2021. Definitely, there was no digress for me. But looking at the overall picture, many did not feel the same way as I did for many reasons, and I feel for them. But I really hope that 2022 is going to be a better year for them.
Yeah, that's a nice thought to have. Yeah, of course, with the cusp, or rather, that borderline between old year, new year, whatever.
True.
People always talk about setting goals and resolutions and all that. What's your take on that?
Ironically, I did not hear many people talking about resolutions.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah.
It was almost like, okay, let's get 2022 in.
Yeah, it's like hopefully a relief is coming. Let's not even talk about personal goals.
Correct.
Just get into it. But
it's interesting, eh?
But honestly, we need to have goals. We need to have resolutions. I'm not a fan of resolutions, but goals definitely I am. But they have to be realistic. They have to be realistic. They've got to be practical, and of course, most important, achievable. Because this is what motivates us to move forward. This is what gives us purpose in life. This adds value to our life. So if we do not have goals, we are going to be stagnating in a status quo position, and that's not good. How are we using our time effectively? Well, of course, setting goals, it's easy because on paper or in your mind, anyone can set goals, but are we able to live up to those expectations? I think that's the second thing that we should look at. And goals are basically how we match our ability, our confidence level to our expectations, and everyone has their own expectations, and that's the reality. But before we paint this big picture about having fantastic goals, if you have great goals for 2022, good for you. If you just have that goal to be happy in 2022, that's a great goal also, especially for those who have not had a good 2021. We have to take stock of ourselves, Kong Yu. Take stock of ourselves, because the most important element in goal setting is us. It's you and me. And we have to ask this question. I'm saying this to everyone because we have to know, who am I? Who are you? If you do not know who we are, how are we going to plant the future into our lives, into our minds? Do I believe in myself? You have to have self-belief. Okay, of course, we can always say that life has not been good for the last 2 years, yes, but we don't want to live in this predicament forever. We have to set standards for ourselves that we have to go on. Ask ourselves, what are our strengths? Many people don't ask these questions. What are our strengths, our weaknesses as a person? Because we drive on our strengths. Of course, our weaknesses we try to improve and remove whatever is negative in us in order for us to achieve those goals. And the last question, I think, that we should ask is, am I ready to achieve my goals in 2022? What are my goals? Okay, we'll talk about that in a while, but I think to cap that area off, it's about fears. I think a lot of people are fearing life itself, fearing the future. Is there really hope for me? Those who have lost their jobs, those who have had salary deductions, those who have been forced into areas that they are not comfortable with. Do I have that courage to achieve my goals? What I'm saying is, in any situation that we are in a happy state or not so happy state, goals must be there to take us out of where we are now. And if you are not in a great situation, maybe the goals that you have will motivate us, encourages us to move forward.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? I mean, we do need that to move forward.
Yeah.
Having some sort of goal to strive towards.
To hang on to, yeah.
To hang on to, regardless of where we are coming from.
Absolutely.
And you made a good point as well that may be a little bit beyond our discussion today. There are many people who are not really sure of who they are in the first place.
Absolutely.
But I guess to look at it positively, we can all still then make a goal to reach, for better, whatever that better might be. Yeah? And goals are very important for that. Now, how can we keep our goals? You were saying that they have to be practical and realistic.
Yeah.
Right? What is your perspective on that?
Well, I would say set goals that you really want to achieve. You may have many. Okay, learn to prioritize. We have only 1 year. Now we have less 4 days in a year. So that's 361 days. Okay, so let's be real. What do you really want to achieve? Is it a personal goal? Is it a goal for your family? Work on something that you really know is going to materialize by the end of this year. Otherwise, we may be disappointed. As human beings we are. And know your goals well. Be very specific. Some people will say, I want to be more successful. Successful is not a specific goal. What area of success are you looking at? In your academics? Or are you looking at your business? Or are you looking at just life, reaching out to other people? Well, be specific. Set objectives for your goals and resolutions, because every time you have a goal, as I said, it's easy to put it on paper, but you have to have an objective. If I do this in 2022, what is it that I want to achieve at the end of the day? All right? So start small. Okay, don't be too ambitious. It's nice to be ambitious in the beginning of the year. Everybody's got that energy, the drive, but focus on one thing at a time, okay? And all important thing is, a lot of people have goals, I have to do this. And by the time they realize that they set a resolution or a goal, it's already June 2022. So you got to make time, make time to achieve them. And that means effort. Are you able to part with your free time, the times that you spend lazing around or just taking life easy? No, we've got to take time, make time. And last but not least, when it comes to goal setting, always be prepared that if you do achieve the goal faster than usual or earlier than usual, learn to reward yourself, learn to enjoy the accomplishment. A lot of people just let it go. I don't. Any small thing. And after this interview, I'm going to enjoy myself, because for me, this was an objective I wanted to achieve in 2022 at some point in time. Right. And yes,
you're going to give yourself a small reward during lunch, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
That's good. And that's a way to keep going as well, isn't it?
True.
Right? That keeps us working towards whatever goal that we are working on, right?
Absolutely.
Any other pointers on how we can go about achieving or striving towards achieving the goal?
Well, as much as we are active goal setters, being active goal setters, we have to be more active goal achievers. And it's a big thing. It's a real big thing. Bottom line is, I think we've got to be strategic. Of course, strategy is a big word for many, but it simply means plan. We got to plan. We're already 4 days into the year. It's not too late to start planning. And there are basically 3 steps to do that. And I think these are 3 easy steps that anyone could actually employ. The first one, know the process that will lead you to your goal. What do you need to do to achieve your goal? If you're talking about winning a marathon, you don't lie down in bed and hope that and visualize yourself getting the medal. You got to do something about it. That means you've got to actively run.
Right. Put the action to it.
Yes. Yeah. And say you want to be a good cook or a chef, you can't just read recipe books. You've got to be in the kitchen. So that's what I'm saying. You got to know the process, the little things that you have to do to achieve your goal. And then you need to have a standard. I think a standard means your expectations. As I said, be realistic. You know who you are. You know how much time you have. You know your pros and cons, your strengths, your weaknesses. So set expectations that you know are achievable. And last but not least, look forward to the outcome. A lot of people may plan, they may do things, and then they leave the outcome to fate. I think yes, but more importantly, what is remember, you are in the driver's seat.
Right.
You decide your destiny. So the outcome, the moment, the winning stage, you have arrived at success. That is the bottom line. So in short, strategy plus effort equals success.
Right. Okay. In short, that will be the 2 general ways, right? Yes. Action is very important, I feel, right? I think a lot of people may be more familiar with, I need to be strategic instead of just blindly going at it. But sometimes the action part, that's when
they're more difficult.
That's right, because it requires effort and is often uncomfortable, and we usually have to get go out of the way, essentially, to achieve whatever new goals that we want, right? So we're going to take a very short break, right? Back in under 30 seconds with Zachary, Roland, Anthony, speaker, trainer, coach, assistant professor at UTAR, and much, much more, artists as well. When we come back, including how we can better approach 2022 and grow as people, right? So that and more coming up right here on Spectrum on TRAXXfm.
Feel good radio station.
Make me feel good. Anywhere, anytime. TRAXXfm.
Known for its beautiful beaches facing the South China Sea. Time to laze around under the sun in Kuantan. TRAXXfm 105.3.
This is Trax Momentum's Spectrum. And today talking about recapping 2021 and more importantly, embracing 2022. Setting goals, of course, achieving them as well. Yeah, I'm with Zachary, Roland, Anthony. He's a speaker, trainer, coach, assistant professor at UTAR, and artist. And if you'd like to catch us on Facebook, we are live on Facebook now at TRAXXfm Official. So do head down to our timeline. We are live there with the latest feed. Of course, if you'd like to drop a comment or if you have a question, suggestion, and maybe an opinion or two, let us know. Yeah, quick little shout out to Patricia Lim. It says, "Good morning, TRAXXfm DJ Kong, presenter, and also all Traxsters, and to our special guests as well." Yeah, we are talking about embracing 2022, but what about unresolved or unachieved resolutions from the previous year? Should we just dump them, or is that a healthier way to move forward?
The most times we tend to pile it on, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
We try to ignore it, and then we come back to it as and when we feel we are inspired to do so. So many reasons why we may have unfulfilled resolutions, like the lack of time, lack of resources, lack of support, lack of finances, whatever, but there are many reasons why. But do not let them go, because they were goals that you personally set, which means they have value. So don't let it go. Respect your thoughts, I would say. Continue the journey and try to achieve them. Well, what you could do with those resolutions that were not fulfilled is, of course, adjust them to make them current and relevant. Maybe you had this 3 years ago, but now 3 years later, things have changed. So what are the adjustments you need to make? But always focus on one resolution. I always keep saying it, because you need to be dedicated to achieve it, and you got to allocate the right resources to achieve them as well. So those are some of the words I could share for unfulfilled resolutions, and there's a lot, and I'm sure all of us may have, including me.
Yeah, 2022, looking forward, right? What do you think is important for all of us in general to cultivate more of, so that we can be better people, we can grow to the next of our potential?
Yes, being a better person. I like that, End of the day, it's all about who we are to ourselves, to our family, to our friends, and to the world. Well, be grateful. That's the first and most important thing, for what you have, for what you are. Have an open mind. No one knows what's going to happen. Things seem to be improving all around the world, but let's have an open mind. What if still be in a situation that you're able to accept it? Yes, we were shocked 2 years ago with what happened, but now we should be more prepared. Be respectful, and this means for all age groups, for all categories of people. Be respectful, because respect will take us far, and that determines a better person. Believe in yourself and your potential. I say this because in the last few months I've been speaking to some people, and they've lost self-belief. And they also have put away all their potential, because they say that I don't think I can go anywhere further than this, Zach, because of what I am going through. So my advice to people who are having a good life, this is my personal advice. If we have glamour news of ourselves, that might slight others who may not be as happy or as lucky as us, try not to overdo it, especially on social media, because they might be slighted, they might be offended, they might be hurt, because they will never be there for a long, long time. So that could be one thing that we could learn to be a better person. Of course, eat well, sleep well. Eat, I think most Malaysians know. But I think the problem now is many people lack sleep, and that's affecting mental health. So my advice is sleep well, Malaysia.
That's a good fundamental there to keep reminding yourself of. Yeah. Speaking of rest and prioritizing well-being, do you feel that it is? I mean, it is of course important. In relation to work-life balance, a lot have been said about it, but then there are the experts who also claim that if there is a balance, then it may not, because you only have so much energy, right?
Yeah.
Right, that might not serve the best for reaching one's goals. What's your opinion on this?
Well, we need to have work-life balance. Of course, as I said, going back to what I asked just now to Malaysia, who are you and what are your pros and cons? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Because if time management is your problem, then it will affect your work-life balance. If you're not at your best physically or even mentally, it will affect your work-life balance. So it helps us. Work-life balance helps us to reduce the stress that we already have. And I think this is essential, especially now when we already have added stress thanks to the pandemic. But we need to balance it. And there are many ways we could do it. Let me share some of them with you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Learn to say no if you can't handle it. Learn to say no. I think this is kind of an Eastern culture. Like we cannot say no because somebody above us is asking that question. Can you do it? But I got no time. But it's okay. I'll do it because my boss is saying so. Or my father is asking me to do it, so I have to. But if you can't do it because you don't have time, then be honest. It's better to be honest than to be sorry. Well, time management is key. Prioritize only the most important in a day. So it's urgent versus least urgent things to do. Do we have working hours? Well, a lot of bosses would feel with virtual working platforms we have more time, but do we really have working hours? And we have to keep those working hours kind of concrete in our mind, because the moment we overshoot it, we may have a problem. Okay, make more time for you and me. That's me time that we need to have. And last but not least, take a break if you have to take a break.
Yeah, right. It can be a really short one, right? Just like even just a break for our eyes is really staring off.
Yeah, just
into the yonder. Of course, ideally not orange, like
just look into
green.
the sky. I think that would be good. Yeah, not the orange. Definitely not the orange.
I need to look beyond orange. Yeah, but you get what I mean, right?
Yes, I do.
A break can be just a small little break. It could just be like a little stretch. Walk to the toilet or maybe to the pantry, and just get the blood flowing a little bit. Yeah,
true.
That's very important. What do you feel that is? What else can we do to be in a more positive state of mind in order to face the rest of the year?
Well, get rid of the negatives. All of us will have it. Take time, find out what they are. Get rid of them as quickly as possible. That's the first and most important. I would look at challenges as exercises that we have to go through or to take on, because these exercises or these challenges that we have will make us stronger people. All right, that's one way to do it. Be thankful, as I mentioned just now. Use a gratitude journal. You see, for those people who never really took time to be thankful, I think I would suggest that you start a journal. Write down the many times you said thank you for what in a day. That will be good practice, and then it becomes part of your life. Have fun. Laugh more to de-stress, the cheapest tool for de-stressing.
Right.
I think we have become too into the bad news that we have forgotten how to laugh these days. Okay, be with positive people, and we know who positive people are. Try to link up with them more often. I'm not saying get rid of the rest of the people, no, but hang on to positive people. Practice intrapersonal communication. Keep talking to yourself. We don't spend time talking to ourselves because ourselves are the best friends for us. And we tell ourselves we can do it. We must do it, and we will do it if we are able to encourage ourselves. So intrapersonal communication. And start your day on a positive note. Because if you do not do that, the rest of the day is going to look dull. So the moment we get up to open the eyes, please say thank you that I have another day to spend on myself, on my family, friends, acquaintances, my work, whatever. So always do that and keep ourselves occupied with positive things, programs, even songs or quotes. That will help quite a bit.
Yeah, right. A great list there for us to hold on to and to also practice, depending on which aspect is it, right? It's so good to be speaking to you, and it's also new in the year, right? 4 days, like you said, and counting.
Yes.
And let's do what we can to seize 2022, right?
Sure.
Anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners today before we have to let you go?
Oh, okay. Wow, time flies, huh? Well, check on your attitude, your behavior, your action, and your character. I think these are the best gifts we can give back to society. And do not discount yourselves. Everybody is a work in progress, so we can only move forward. Don't take the back step. And I think this is where we have to keep improving our skills, our talents, our abilities. Malaysia, we are all important. Each and every one of us is important. So don't discount ourselves from anything. Keep strengthening ourselves, looking at improvement. But as long as we live, and we will always have a tomorrow, but tomorrow is always uncertain. All right, so keep your doors open, your options open, and tell yourself that, look here, I have a chance to make a difference. I have a chance to change the world. I should do that. But my last words would be, respect our lives, respect the lives of others. They have this famous saying, kita jaga kita. So it's time that we do it as individuals, really putting it into action. And smile more, Malaysia. The world will smile back at you.
It's so true, right? Some of it is so basic, so simple. The joy of laughter.
Absolutely.
Right? And just the simple act of smiling. Right? And also the fact that, one of the most important things is how to convert a certain, like a mindset, for example, or perspective into actual action. Right, so that, even taking something like Kita Jaga Kita is a nice slogan, it's a nice concept, but where is the action? That is the most important thing. Then something that we can look to each of our own individual selves and see where is it that we are actually practicing it in real life, right? So wonderful stuff, great advice. Thank you so much for coming in. And huge thanks, of course, to Zachary, Roland, Anthony, speaker, trainer, also assistant professor at UTAR, for being with us right here as we kickstart for this show anyway, right? 2022 in as positive a way, in a more as goal-oriented as possible, and of course following through by as actionable as possible. As actionable as possible. Yeah. I just want to say the parting words. Well, thank you so much, Kong Yu, for this opportunity. You're welcome. Thank you, Trax. We're wishing all listeners and all of you a productive and satisfying year. I think we all need a better year to be happy. Let's enjoy every moment. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Zachary. And thank you for tuning in to the first Spectrum feature of 2022. And if you have been with us on Facebook, we appreciate your presence there as well. Remember, do join us for interview specials daily right here on TRAXXfm's Trax Momentum at about this time, right? And we'll be bringing it across on Facebook Live as well. Yeah. Wrapping up the Spectrum feature for today. I'll be back after the noon quick news updates with more coming your way right here on Momentum with yours truly, Kong Yu. So stay tuned. Good morning and keep it locked right here on TRAXXfm.
We will be back next week for more topics, issues, tips, and insights. Spectrum, youth, arts, culture. Only on TRAXXfm.